Heyo friendos, it is I, the DrBossKey, and today we are taking a look at the latest round of art updates. We are getting so close to completing all of our character art for the DrBossKey Shoot 'em Up. It's bittersweet because it's cool to be finalizing these designs. We've learned so much, but it's also a little bitter because it's coming to an end. We have to ship, gotta release the project and not continue with feature creep. We still have plenty to do that I need to do on the design and tech art side as well. But that's a story for another time. Why don't we flip on over? So I did one round of reviews over the last 2 days. So one is, check this guy out. So we have a boss that's been in the game for a while, and we call him the Astral Ripper. I wanted to change his name. I was calling him, was working, it was Deus Ex Machina. And I generated this with AI art, and I kind of was like, I was going for this like classic sort of like Contra vibe, like machine, like giant enemy presence kind of thing, kind of like maybe a god machine thing. Anyways, so my poor artist, Dimitri, I love you. So I dropped this on him, and it's been in the game for a long time at this point. We've done all the gameplay designs and everything there. But you know, the important thing is that it's the correct texture. Let me turn this down a little bit. A little loud on my side. There we go. Don't want to feel like I'm yelling. You know, it's important when we're working with our prototypes to nail the size of the enemy, the on-screen, because all of these things have an impact on your gameplay and game design. So when we come back to update the art, then we want to make sure that we're not missing things. And sometimes, you know, you have to expand the art or make changes. And so given that Dimitri came and had a couple, 3 suggestions, and I really liked all of these, and so we took a look at those just the other day. Turned around a chunk of feedback, so a little bit more of the fine machinery from the original concept. Also just kind of pointing that out. Pointing out this kind of portal for ripping space-time. So in my mind, like this cosmic entity, right, essentially rips open the space-time continuum, and almost like a wormhole to some degree, right? And then like winds up pushing his way through the membrane of space-time, and then is a trigger for basically invasion, right? So and other things. This is just the way my mind works. So and so from the remixes, I definitely like kind of the plate here that we had for the head. I like some of this front chest piece, which is cool. I like the detailing there. Really enjoyed this kind of like machinery pipe work here that we got. It's almost vein-like. And then I enjoyed this, like, you know, we have a few other monsters in the game, and these this sort of like Cthulhu-esque inspiration definitely lends itself to this. So I liked kind of this bulbous chamber thing. I overall enjoyed this face, the overhanging with the weird mouth here, and then this like neck mouth, which is pretty cool. And then I wanted to get a few more tentacles. So and then Dimitri turned that around and was like, oh, hey, I get it. Like with trying to include that piece. So we had 3 aspects of like ways that the Astral Ripper could come into the dimension. So this one's kind of like a play on glass shards, so like kind of breaking through. This was like, again, kind of the wormhole side, and this was sort of like a flamey ethereal thing. So liked each one of those explorations. Did a round of feedback where I took one of these, this is one of our background images for level 4, where we have layering. So and then just did a very crude version of essentially stretching this idea of the, you know, like this guy's coming from the deep cosmos, right, deep space, and then did my crude versions of like wiggly tentacle bits, right, and then sort of showed the overlay of like his body also being stretched across like the event horizon here. So and luckily, like, Dimitri and I've done it for a long time, so he turns around a version. I was like, ooh, yeah, right. So that was cool. And then I took that version, dropped it on top of the sprite sheet that we had for the Astral Ripper, because I wanted to make sure we were leaving room for these aspects of it, and that it actually filled in, you know, where we're at. And so it turns out like he wasn't wide enough, so I was like, oh, let's make him wider, of course. Here you can see the tentacle turnaround here. This was primarily about sort of the event horizon side. So, but yeah, I like where we're at there. And then, so that's where I left it there. And then I did a quick look in engine. So you take a look at this guy here. Got our new track underneath. Pretty dope. And yeah, so here he is. And then I was like, okay, cool. So now that we've got a sense for him in terms of size, which was super important, you know, like we'll, I think that, you know, like the attacks, like we can adjust him a little bit vertically to get some of the horizon, but also it gave me the opportunity to take a look again at like, hey, we have these weapon points. This is a big prominent feature of the boss design. So what if while we're doing the art, we actually, and it's not necessary, we'll see what Dimitri comes back with, but while we're doing the art, why don't we take a look at like, hey, could we integrate these kind of plasma double beams that are coming, you know, out of like these parts of the boss? So, and then we got a chance to look at him as he presses through. Always a nice little pro tip when you just want to look at art, but you want to change a bunch of stuff, just change your hit points to 10,000. Just don't forget to change it back when you want to publish your builds. But yeah, so you get a sense here, like these attacks, so they kind of come through. I think it's gonna be pretty cool when we have all like cool wiggling art for this as well. And then you'll see the final phase here in just a sec. Playing this one-handed on keyboard, yay. Yeah, so, and I think, yep, so, and this here, it really is nice because when the boss pushes into this dimension, or into this part of the screen, it's nice, kind of cuts off half the play field, but then it gives you this really cool, oh, like this isn't just a guy in the world, this is a guy coming through the space-time like event horizon barrier. So I did those tests here, and then provided that feedback for Dimitri, and we're waiting to see what happens with that tomorrow, and onwards. So we've also been working on the Bronchress challenge level 2 boss. So I think I changed the challenge level names, but whatever, it's close enough. And then here, the short version to get you guys up to speed is here's what Bronchress looks like in engine, right? So this is again kind of my sort of like, hey, like we have a couple themes here. I really like this sort of demonic essence, this like plasma flowing kind of thing, like that, you know. And then we're riffing on some of the, like, it's in a forest in this particular case, but like kind of twisted like woods, like almost like treant demons, things like that. So she channels forth those things, and then mixed with sort of these like these kind of cosmic spider bits. So we have these extra limbs and kind of branches, why I call her Bronchress, right? And then we got a little riff on the crown. Of course, this is all just really like, this is me working with Stable Diffusion and some Midjourney AI art generation, and then I kludging a bunch of things together to sort of like get an aspect of the kind of the flavor of what I wanted for the boss. So, and then we had a version, pretty cool here, a 3 version, and we just did the Skullzor, so we finished him up last week. And we did a 3/4, a big skeleton, like basically the Skull Lord boss, or mid-boss, I guess, if you will, from Castlevania Symphony Night. So, and Dimitri thought like doing another 3/4 perspective would be pretty cool in this case. Highly agreed. So I took a look at that, took a look at these elements, which I really, really liked. And we remixed a bunch of these. So you can kind of see just, you know, he's got a version of sort of like it reminds me of like a Mudman face kind of pushing through. This is all very Hulk and bestial, but didn't really carry a chunk of what I thought was important, like this kind of fusion of the queen, if you will. But I liked aspects of those aspects. I really liked these kind of hulking arm claw things we got here. You can see the smaller branching there. Then you saw a version of the spider base, right? 3/4. I like this weird goo thing that you'll see in the final and the more updated version. I like the eyes, of course. I wanted us to play around with these kind of branching, they're not really mandibles, but like, I don't know, front arm claw things. And I really liked, I'm a sucker for like this like fleshy goodness, right? You can see like it's all stretchy and it's all weird. Like what this thing is, I don't know, but it's amazing, right? Like it feels good in my mind. So, and then here we saw a version like, oh, like he incorporated the essentially like the queen kind of top fusion of of her herself, right? We had this kind of nice riff on kind of like her like crown. I kind of like that it's cutting off her eyes, right? And then I like the goo bits in here, and then also these hulking arms from the side. I love that these things jut out here, right? So it's just like, and then that her like appendages are like deep inside. It's almost like puppetry inside the mass of flesh itself. This is the stuff that I do, and I really enjoy it. So, and so I gave him a round of feedback on kind of where we're with this. So I won't go too far into that, but yeah, you can see we're starting to detail. We got a version. Is it here? Oh yeah, so there's the remix. And we had two versions of her right here. And then one we played with the claws. And I took a look at that. It's like, oh, okay, it doesn't quite work the way I expected it to, which is totally fine. Sometimes, you know, like, this is why you sketch things out, right? To get an idea of how the visual identity would look for these things. And then did a round of feedback on that, of course. So with kind of a mixture of the eyes for the face. I like this little bit more demonic eye thing we got going on here. Want to rotate the face up so it's looking a little bit more forward. It's definitely a minion part of this flesh thing here. And then this idea of the regal queen. And then I really wanted her to have this dress that was like more from wood fiber, which I thought was going to be really cool. I wanted to explore that. A little bit more of a bodice there and some cleavage, like to obviously show that she's feminine, but you know, and twisted and demonic. And then yeah, so we did that, and then we got a remix of that here, which was pretty cool. And I really like where we're at here with this. Did a round of feedback. Did I do a round of feedback on that? I think the feedback was actually pretty quick here. Wait a minute, did I do that? Hello. Where did I lose it? Okay. Yeah, so then we did some color explorations. And in the context of this, I was taking a look, and yes, I can go back and show that. That's where I put the feedback. And then basically started to remix some of the colors that I really liked. I was kind of looking for like this, like more, quite a little bit more. I want a little bit more of that like swamp nature green, a little more demon. I wanted a little bit more of this kind of not quite pink flesh, but a little bit more of this sort of like grayish blue. Like, you know, there's a difference between what she's kind of controlling with herself in there as well. Definitely like kind of that where we're going with the browns, of course, and then the head itself, or the crown itself. And then just a quick note there, not so much texture. Dimitri, I'll put this in feedback too, but here I want to also play a little bit with the crown itself being more of golden branches, and then we can also have the leaves as well that you kind of added from there. But yeah, so we got a remix of that, and here we are. So you're caught up. So yeah, so I already talked about that, and what we're gonna do is I think I already saved this. Let me double check. We got the Bronchress, yep, and I want to see her in engine, because that's one of the things that I think is also important if you can when you're looking at art. If it's easy, relatively easy, and it's not going to cost you a lot of pain, whenever you can take a look at early parts of enemy design, putting it in engine as soon as possible, especially if you've already done prototype designs, will help you then realize, like, hey, how do the effects work? How's the positioning work on screen? Is it big enough? Is it small enough? Are we, what are we thinking about animation wise? So it helps you quite a bit. And I think so is this level. Don't want to save anything there. Yeah. Okay. So here she is. What we'll do is, do I have, I don't have a folder open yet, do I? No, it's just the temp folder. Well, in this case, I'm just going to use a little cheat. I'm just going to reveal it in Explorer. Come down to sprites. We're going to go, and we know, is it Bronchress? Yeah, so Bronchress. And what I like to do is I like to, just because it's an engine, and if something is really broken, I need to go back, I just create like a _P1 just to save previous version 1. That also reminds me that the name of the asset is Bronchress 512 by 512. I've since removed adding resolutions to the file names because when we do sprite sheets, they're not actually those they're not actually those sprite dimensions anymore. So a little bit of a learning. One of the pro tips out there for you is to try to identify what you want for your file naming convention, and then try to stick to it, because as you try to go back through things, file names are easier to parse if they give you little hints on what they are. Okay, so let's see here. Temp art. Get over here to the Bronchress. I know it's Bronchress version 4. We'll just make a copy of that, drop it up in here, and then we're just gonna see what happens. Ready? Oh boy. Oh, one of the things I probably should do. I guess we'll take a look in a second. I didn't check the I didn't check the asset dimensions. So, might be a little big at first blush. Rawr. So let me take a look and see if I actually applied a scale value to her or not. So I was at scale value of 200. That's hard learnings there, so we'll go back to 100. And that's going to change the attack patterns, unfortunately. But we've learned. All right, so I want to take a look. There's two things I want to look at here. One is I want to take a look at the how this is going to change the attack patterns, because I'll probably have to tune those up. Yeah, so like the spiders here, of course. Like now everything has changed. So, but the good news is that's easy enough for me to fix. So now what we really want to do, this is mostly about art. So design wise, I'll do the tweaking and tuning here and clean up my mistakes. So I really like the way she fits. This feels pretty good. I feel like coloration, I mean, so this is not about texture. This is not about rendering. This is just straight color test. So we've got the abdomen here. We kind of got these things are gonna pulsate. It's gonna be great. Animation wise, we got this kind of regal wood fibrous kind of dress thing here. We want a little bit of skin tones here and into the green. I really like that. Yeah, so I think it really pops. Let's take a look. I think it's bursting with color, which is nice. I think it fits quite well. So, okay. Well, let me see. Is there anything else that I want to do? I mean, we got the big claws, which is good. Let's take a look here. I just want to see how the other attacks. So they'll be bigger, of course. We'll take the opportunity to adjust and tweak and tune our VFX as well. Yeah, it's interesting how fast things change when you change essentially one scale value. Yeah, this feels pretty good though. Like you can see the lost soul bits, the soul bits that are coming from her kind of abdomen, you know, absorbing the soul from doing damage. That powers your super meter, which is super cool. God, this is so much easier when it's, you know, basically 100% smaller in terms of projectiles and attacks. Okay, yeah, I really like where we're at. So let's take that. Come back here. I'll take a screenshot just so Dimitri can see it there. And I think I really like where we're at color-wise. I think we're ready to go into more fine detail and rendering now that we've got our color pass. And then, you know, we just do this thing here, right? So drop this bad boy here. We'll drop the video as well, just so we can go through things. I'll tell Dimitri in this case, there's not a lot of major feedback. One of the things I want to do is, here, actually, should have deleted this, delete forever. Okay, over to Photoshop, ka-choonch. Let's see, grid boy. You turn off the grid. Oh, all right. And then layer. Oops. All right. Add a little text. Let's. I forgot I was messing with fonts last night. We just updated our multiplier score fonts and our enemy, when you kill enemies, they're the point fonts too. So super fun. All right, so try that again. Let's go back to Arial. Let's change from the brown crown more towards golden wood. All right. And that over to there. And on one of our little tricks is that we always use gross 255 green because there is no expectation that I'm trying to do anything artistic. So very easy to read across most things. So, all right, back over here. 2. Take a screenshot of that. Yeah, so very, very cool. I'm excited. These bosses are gonna look pretty sweet when we bring them to completion, which I bet you with animation, there's a good chance both these bosses are gonna land in final form next week. So, and I think I'll leave the prototype versions in place too. And then I'm gonna do some design work to fix them up after this. But this is not about that. So in we go. Over to here, copy image address. I'm enjoying the colors, the color combinations. Let's move on to the next phase. All right. Here, one piece of. Please do a pass on the crown and shift it from wooden brown to golden wood. We can still make the leaves brighter, but I want the crown to stick out from the we'll call it clothing. Feedback. All right, put that bad boy in there. Double check. We got it. Always double checking because basically Dimitri is in another time zone that isn't US based, and as a result, he's usually done with his day by the time it's morning for me, and then it's late afternoon, evening for me before I can give him feedback. So anytime that I mess something up in communication means one extra day that we have to add for turnarounds, and that all piles up. So okay, yeah, I think we're good. So from waiting for feedback to back to in progress, both of those are there, and that's it. That's art reviews for the day. For the folks out there that have been watching, that have been supporting the channel, that have been hitting that subscribe button, that have been thumbs upping things and really helping us out, all silliness aside, very much appreciate you. Thank you for all the play testing. We had a fantastic last week, and I was just going through the last round of playtest notes, making some tuning adjustments and things to the game, and balancing as well. We're cooking along, like we're cruising, and we're probably just a couple months out from for finishing. I think we pretty much have turned alpha, so we're out of our pre-alpha phase because everything that's in the game now is represented. There's still obviously temporary art, but that's where we're at. Without further ado, I'm gonna send you off. Thanks everybody, talk to you soon. Bye.